How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode number 78 of the Figuring It Out Finance podcast, where I, your host, Chris Rickenbaugh, am documenting my journey in real estate and business while also talking a little bit about travel hacking and personal finance. The podcast is now available on Apple Podcasts and back on YouTube. I finally figured that one out. And it is also available on Spotify, and Podbean is where I post it. So everything is uploaded to Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts now, anywhere you listen to podcasts. So go follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well, where I post daily. And then check out figuringitoutfinance.com, where the podcasts are also posted in the blog section. So you can click on that and it'll take you exactly to the podcast. And you can click on the links on the Spotify, Apple, and YouTube as well. So today's podcast is going to be reviewing my 12-week year, quarter three. So, if you don't know what the 12-week year is, it's based on a book, and I got this recommendation from Brian Lubin. I'm not sure if it was exactly in his book or he talked about it on the podcast and interviewed the author. Either one, I got the idea from him, checked out the book, loved it, and then I started following it as well. So, I did this for quarter two when I just first started, and it was really just kind of drilling down the habits of getting in the flow of doing the podcast, getting some real estate stuff done, and then, some personal goals as well. So, there's some different things that have evolved with this as I went through this 12-week year. And this was the first time where, or I guess the second time really doing it, but I didn't do a great job of tracking. Like, I didn't do the total and the total possible. I had a couple goals, and it was really just, being super consistent. And that's what I really like about it, is because it's teaching me to be super consistent on everything that I'm doing. So, there was a weekend there where I went to Hawaii and I said, you know what? I'm not going to post anything. I'm not going to do the podcast. I'm just going to enjoy Hawaii. So I did that. And then, I set some real estate goals that were a little bit different and evolving. So between when I started and now, I joined the Deal Flow program with by Cam Cathcart. And that changed my real estate goals, because what they do is just about the same thing, to where you're tracking every single day what you're doing, and they give you weekly goals. So it's close to the same thing, but I figured, those are my real estate goals now, to where I'm working in the outreach. I'm looking to walk homes, and I really use that as my real estate goals for the week, that I just need to be reaching out to people. I need to be making offers. I need to be walking homes. And the biggest thing for that is, when I started my first flip, I said, I want all my attention on this, and it happened in 2 weeks. So I really didn't have a whole lot of time to, venture out or get bored. So this one, where we're coming up on being in it completely for, August, September, almost 3 months now, to where we're almost at the finish line. It's just been a lot more time, to where it's like, okay, I need more coming in. So now it's figuring out, okay, what can I be doing while these flips are going on? Whether that's wholesaling, whether that's, looking for more flips, looking for private money. Those are the things in real estate that I'm doing. So I didn't do a great job of tracking real estate as well, because one of the goals that I had in there, I had 3 Bigger Pockets posts per week. So something that I did during that time is I left Bigger Pockets. So I didn't delete the account, but I just deleted canceled my subscription. I wasn't using it. I just wasn't in the flow of it anymore, and I wanted to check out Deal Flow. So I'm in that now. I'm trying to be very active in the community, trying to help as many people that are, where I was about 6 months ago, had never done a deal, don't know how to rent or talk about the rehab costs, and I think it's more of mindset on some of the people, but, it's just breaking over that mindset to where it's like, hey, this is scary, to where, okay, this is math, this is numbers. It's like, okay, let's get in and let's just take action. So really enjoying that program. I haven't utilized the videos as much as I probably need to, and I have a lot of people I can rely on in my corner for those specific questions, to where, I could just send a text and get it back, rather than, going through and watching a whole video on, what to say to a wholesaler. So, it's a good program, and I'm just glad to be in it. So that is real estate. So the Figuring It Out Finance, my business, what I wanted to be consistent on was publishing the podcast 3 times a week, which I did, posting every weekday on Instagram and TikTok, and then commenting on 5 posts on Instagram. So I did, I was fine on posting every day on the TikTok and Instagram, but I didn't do very good on commenting on the 5 posts, and that kind of went away. So I kind of use that as an experiment, because what happened in the first quarter or the second quarter that I did this, I started commenting on a lot of people's posts, and that started getting me a little bit of followers coming in. So also what I started doing was uploading the Instagram where it didn't have the little TikTok symbol in it, and that's helped my growth a little bit more. So it's just kind of watching how that goes, and that's the real interesting part for me, because I get a lot more eyeballs on TikTok and not so many on Instagram, but the Instagram is going to lead to more interaction at the end of the day. So another one of those was the monthly newsletter. I kind of backed out of doing that. I just didn't have enough going on, and I just didn't have anybody signing up for it, which obviously if that's something to where I just need to be a little bit more consistent. But what I have done and am planning out is that I'm going to start building a buyer's list, so that when I come across these wholesale opportunities, I can send those out as my monthly newsletter, on the real estate side. And then the Figuring It Out Finance, I think I'm going to focus more on putting out content and, changing the videos a little bit and seeing how those do, because they're consistently around that 500 to 700 views right now, which is really cool. Lots of eyeballs. And then just kind of keep being consistent on the podcast and talking about what I'm doing, talking about some of the things that I'm learning. So when I started this, I was at 295 downloads. So that has definitely slowed down to where I'm only at 403 downloads since the last time. So my goal by the end of the year is 1,000 downloads, and I'll break it down this week and, figure out what my goals are going to be for Q4. But moving on to the personal side in the end here, it's read 10 pages of an informational book, drink 3/4 of a gallon of water, no soda except for 1 per day on the weekends, log meals 5 times a week, exercise 7 times a week, and then date night with my beautiful wife 1 time a week. So going from the top here, there's a couple of things in here that I do daily, to where now I just wanted to track it, to where now it feels pretty habitual, to where I don't need to really, write it down every single day. So those things are, reading the 10 pages. I love to read, and that's how I like to start my day after the gym. Have some coffee, read 10 pages, and then get started on either some personal stuff or get started on work for the day. Drinking 3/4 of a gallon of water. I just feel off if I don't do that, because that's pretty habitual, except on the weekends. Drinking soda is another one, to where I try to limit it during the week, and if I want to weigh the weight that I do, I just shouldn't be having it on the weekend, or I should only, allow myself to have it on the weekends, if at all. But, pretty good about that, to where I don't normally do that. And that's, one of the habits, to where not having it in the fridge not putting it in the fridge until Friday is a little bit easier. And then you just put in 2, because if they're warm, I'm going to be a lot less likely to drink it. So logging the meals 5 times a week. So I definitely fell off the train here on that one. Just because I actually took it out halfway through because I'm like, man, I'm just not doing that. Mainly because the app that I was using wouldn't let me scan barcodes, and then, it really wasn't helping me on the calories, or it was just tracking my calories, and having to log in and scan the things, it was just kind of starting to be a pain. So now I have an app to where I can scan the barcodes. It's a lot easier and simpler to use, and I get a lot more information with having that little subscription to where I can see the macros, I can have protein goals, and I really just see what I'm eating and drinking. So that one's become a lot more habitual to where it's, every single day, even on the weekends, if I pig out on McDonald's or something, I'm still logging it in there because I can also log my weight in there, which is a good one because I was just doing that manually in a notebook, and I'm like, well, if I can just do this on the app, it's going to be able to show me, where I'm losing weight, how, and everything. So it's going to be a lot easier. So moving on to the last part here is the lifting 7 times per week. That's pretty easy to hit. I do Monday through Friday in the mornings. I'll go for a run on Sunday, and then Monday and Wednesday, I normally go back and hit biceps and triceps. So that hits the 7 pretty easy. That's another one that I'll probably throw out. So I would say all of these are going to be different on my next 12-week year. So I'll have to look up some different habits or things where I want to get better. And then the date night once a week, that's pretty simple, and that's really, really easy to hit. So definitely going to be having to think of some different personal things that I can be doing every day. I normally journal. I don't have to really write that down anymore. I'll just write down 3 things about the day. And then that helps me go back and remember it, and I can do that day by day, and that's super simple because, just being able to go back and remember, what's going on at this time period, the nerves I'm having, write down some motivational things like the I am statements or I am not, that's really beneficial to me. So going into Q4, going into the end of the year, this last 2.5 months, it's October 22nd today. So just, a little over 70, just about 70 days left in this year. So looking forward to getting more under my belt, looking to get this current flip complete and sold before the end of the year. Doing the numbers with the realtor today, it's looking like a $45,000 to $55,000 profit if we can get it wrapped up here pretty soon. And then just looking for more opportunities, which I'll talk about later in the week. And for the podcast, I'd like to be able to just have a guest on. So that's going to be something I'm going to be looking at before the end of the year. Maybe getting a guest on once or once every 2 weeks, going to meetups and seeing if people are interested. Maybe doing like a more of a local, like a Charlotte investors podcast to where they can come on the Figuring It Out Finance podcast, tell their story, and then be able to repost that for more views. So that's another interesting one to think about. So that's a couple of the plans. I'm going to be coming up with a couple different ideas for the podcast later this week. So make sure you tune in then, and then I will see you on Friday.